Greetings, marine biologists. We are going to examine ocean life in the deepest part of the ocean. Turn to page 10 in your notes. All the answers are underlined. Don't forget you can pause the video at any time when you need to. Are you ready? Here we go. The many seas of the world are home to an enormous variety of plant and animal life. Ocean-dwelling plants and animals live at all different levels of the ocean. Seaweeds, seagrasses, and microscopic phytoplankton make up the ocean's plant life. Plants generally only live in the shallow parts of the ocean where sunlight can still reach. More than 13,300 kinds of fish with endless varieties of colors, sizes, and shapes live in the ocean. They share their salty habitat with marine mammals such as whales, dolphins, seals, sea otters, and manatees, as well as a variety of invertebrate animals without backbones. Invertebrates include crabs, sea anemones, scallops, squid, and jellies. The ocean is divided into 4 levels: neritic, oceanic, bathyal, and abyssal. The neritic zone is also known as the sunlight zone. It is on the continental shelf, which is the shallowest zone. Because it gets plenty of sunlight, it is filled with a variety of ocean life. This is where people scuba dive or snorkel. Have you ever been scuba diving or snorkeling? It's something I've always wanted to try. The oceanic zone gets lots of sunlight. It is under the surface of the water, down about 600 feet. Many familiar creatures live here also. The bathyal zone gets a dim amount of sunlight, which means it doesn't get a whole lot. From the bottom of the oceanic zone, 600 feet, to another mile, which is at 5,280 feet down. Squid, large whales, and octopuses live here, but this zone is difficult for fish to live in because of the lack of sunlight makes it difficult to find food. Because of the lack of light, some species living here have special adaptations to help them get around and find food. Do you remember what an adaptation was? Animals in this zone are not threatened by predators that can see them, so they do not have powerful muscles. The abyssal zone gets no sunlight. It's very dark and very cold, about 35 to 37 degrees. It is very deep. It is the true ocean bottom. There is a tremendous amount of water pressure. The creatures that live here have very special adaptations that allow them to survive in this harsh environment. So let's talk about some creatures from the abyssal zone. Fish at these depths often have huge, gaping, underslung jaws to sift through the sand and find food. Animals here must be able to withstand the pressures. They tend to be gray or black for camouflage. Many are blind since eyes are not necessary in this pitch black environment. The anglerfish is in the darkness of the abyssal zone. It is the only light that comes from fish. Almost 2/3 of the fish in the dark zone make their own light with chemicals. These lights are to attract a meal. The anglerfish attracts food with a lighted lure on its head. To hungry fish, the lure looks like a glowing worm. When a fish gets close enough, the angler snatches it with its huge mouth and hinged teeth. Do you remember seeing the anglerfish on one of the famous Disney movies? The viperfish. These creatures are well adapted to the dark zone. With little food, these fish eat other fish or whatever drifts down from above. When these fish do get a meal, they need to hold it tight so it can't swim away. Their sharp teeth make sure of that. Giant squid. The female species of giant squid can grow up to 43 feet in length, while males can grow up to 33 feet. In 2004, Japanese researchers took the first images of a live giant squid in its natural habitat. And in July 2012, a live adult was first filmed in its natural habitat. Since they are so large, their only known predators are whales. Here are some other creatures you may see in the abyssal zone. We have the tripod fish, the swallower fish, tube worms, and the goblin shark. Let's imagine, hatch closed, you're inside the Elvin, which is a small submarine-like craft called a submersible. Scientists use the Elvin to study the deep waters of the ocean. On this trip, you'll be traveling with marine biologists who study ocean life. The Elvin has a strong covering to protect you from the tremendous water pressure that increases the further down in the ocean you go. The Elvin can travel about 9,843 feet beneath the ocean's surface. Without a strong covering, the Elvin would be quickly crushed. Inside the Elvin, space is tight. You feel like you're being squeezed inside a big metal beach ball with 2 other people. You are surrounded by glowing lights that are part of the control panel. These controls keep air flowing, and they run the cameras, lights, and metal arms that help scientists gather information in samples. Let's journey to the coral reef. After a visit to the dark zone, sunny blue waters look pretty inviting. Let's take a stop at the coral reef. It looks like an undersea garden. The reef is an undersea ridge built by billions of coral polyps, which are tiny animals about 20 to 30 centimeters long. Reef-building polyps are adapted to grow only in certain places. They live only in clear salt water not far from land. The water needs to be warm and the polyps need a lot of sunlight, so they only live in shallow waters. In these conditions, polyps grow like weeds. Polyps use salt from seawater to build a hard skeleton around their bodies. When polyps die, they leave their skeletons behind. New polyps grow on top of the skeletons and build up the reef. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia is the biggest coral reef in the world. It is the same distance as New York City to Miami, Florida. Here is a map to give you an idea of how long the Great Barrier Reef is. Coral reefs are perhaps the most beautiful ocean habitats. They have vibrant colors, brilliant pinks, purples, yellows, and reds. A single reef may be home to as many as 3,000 species of animals, including eels, shellfish, octopuses, seahorses, and many brightly colored fish. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the animal life that we got to research. We'll see you next time.